Because at the end of the day, what you really want is stability. You work really, really hard to create stability with you and your companion. You don't want to jeopardize that. So when you go to a gathering, men are over there, women are over there. But there is something else you need to know about, most likely third world cultures. We are very, very kid-friendly. So if I, for example, saw a kid walking around outside, I'd like to just run out, grab the child, give him a few kisses, and then come back inside the room. That's how we function. But you can't do that here. Because everybody is categorized as a molester of sorts, you see. Now, so in this culture, you have to pay attention to a lot of things that oftentimes in other cultures you don't, you know. Now, once your child gets to a place where they need to go to school, then you do something you've never done before. You've always taught yourself to be open-minded. You don't discriminate. You love everybody. But you have a 4-year-old kid. All of a sudden, you begin to categorize people. You begin to discriminate. You begin to pass judgments. You're very clear as to what good and evil are. People who smoke, evil. I don't care if you got cancer, man. You just can't smoke in front of my child. People who are depressed, evil. You don't want your kid to be, contaminated by those things. What is it that you want, Chris? Like the Buddha, you want to create a palace for your child. You don't want anything that's old, that's sick, that's dead for your child to witness. You create for them a gated community. You first do that emotionally, intellectually. But now you're attacked by some physical realities. You live in Oakland, in a crummy place. You need to move. Let's complicate the story by saying the following. Let's say you haven't spoken to your parents for 10 years. You love your child. One day, as your wife is harassing you, I don't want to live in Oakland. My soul lives inside this kid. I don't want society to steal that soul and replace it with trash. Call your parents. Ask for money. If you don't want to do that, I don't want to see you in this house. I need you to work 24-hour shift every single day until you're able to save about $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 so we can leave this hellhole. Now, you probably lock yourself in the bathroom with your cell phone, and then you're just looking at the phone number for your parents. You say, should I call? Should I not call? What am I to do? And then you do something you've never done before. It's a great act of humility, truth and sacrifice. I don't care what they did to me. I don't care what I did to them. You're not yet there to understand what you put your parents through. But now you see your parents as people who they can be financially functional. Maybe not intellectually, maybe not emotionally, but they can help you with your finances. You call and your dad picks up the phone. Hey, Dad, who are you? The prodigal son. Remember Chris? Oh, yes, that crap. I know who you are. What do you want? Dad, listen. I got married. You did? You never got an invitation. Yeah, Listen, I live in a bad neighborhood, and I have a son, daughter. You're a grandfather. I need to move somewhere nice. The moment your father hears that he's a grandfather, everything about his mood changes. You know what? Tomorrow, your mom and I are going to come there with a U-Haul. You know that rental we have in Montclair, Snake Woods Drive? It's a 5-acre property, tiny little cabin. It's beautiful. It's like Walden. We're just going to give that to you. Okay, that sounds really good. These are things you never thought about. Then your child becomes 4 or 5 or 6, and then you say to yourself, all right, what sort of a school do they want to go to? Public school? Private school? Now remember, you're like Lena. You're open-minded. You're a hippie. You don't make judgments about those things. All people are the same. The sun shines its rays upon everyone, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But as a father, you don't care about the good or the bad or the ugly. You only care for the most attractive, the most beautiful. So you say, you look at Oakland public schools. They may have been good about 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. I don't know. But you drive by them, you say, man, it's a trashy school. And you look at the kids running around and say, I don't think so. And then, you look at your wife and you say, yeah, I don't think I like that school. She looks and says, Chris, thou shalt not judge. And you say, shut your mouth. I'm going to judge because my judgment is rooted in observation. And what I observe is that my soul lives inside this kid. I have put my life on pause to raise this kid. I'm not going to let that public school destroy it. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Dying. Well, that's great. You have a smile on your face. Now, it's always nice when you hear bad news and you can smile.
No, I'm just trying to be optimistic about this.
I'm dying. What's so optimistic about that?
You don't have to feel anything anymore.
That's what?
You don't have to feel anything anymore.
That's true.
Or pay any bills. Boom. Yeah. You're just in an eternal rest.
Eternal. Oh my God. Yeah. People. Now, what is it, Lena?
I was just wondering, you talked about judgment, and I was curious about what you thought about like the nature of opinion, of knowing something, or can you both have an opinion and not know something?
There was an economist some years ago. I forget his last name, but he had gone to UN. He had given some talks to some of the Congress people. And one of them approached him and said, well, a couple of days ago you said A, B, C, D. Now you're saying E, F, G, H. And he said, I said A, B, C, D because I had access to these facts. But today someone informed me that there are all these other facts as well. And so I have made some corrections to my position. You can have an opinion as long as it's educated, it's good. But that depends on how you wish to define education, how you wish to define how your mind has become educated in order to form an opinion. If you just want to have an opinion, none of us in this class have any choice but to have an opinion about things. That's what experiences does. Experiences create opinions, they create biases. Now, if you have the stamina and the desire to sit back and say, okay, what is this experience? What is its impact on my emotions, on my psychology, on my thinking, and ultimately on the way I act manifested outwardly? That could be a relatively good, educated position to have. If, on the other hand, you just have an experience and then you form an opinion without any examination, then it's going to eventually, you know. So we've covered what it means to have a child up to the age of 5 or 6. And you came to realize that eventually you become very prejudiced, very biased, very judgmental, and you become a hater of many things in life because you want to protect your family. Now, let's say your child is 7 or 8 and they have a class at some relatively okay school. And today's topic is LGBTQ plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's a great conversation to have. The only question is, you think your 7-year-old needs to hear it? Now, you've never been a political activist. For the most part, you've always been passive. You stay on the sideline. You have a good amount of trust, let's say, in the teachers, in the students, and parents. But all of a sudden, because of just the way society is today, you say, well, you know, that's fine as a conversation for adults. Maybe 15, maybe 16, maybe 20, maybe 50, maybe 90, maybe when you're dead. But my 7-year-old? The hell do you do now? Now, you thought yourself to be open-minded, having the capacity to embrace all sorts of things under the sun. But this is a little too close. Remember Dick Cheney, for those of you in this class? He was the vice president of George Bush, Republican, conservative. His position about what it means to be gay changed. Do you know why? His daughter was gay. See, you have no idea how things are going to impact you when you're touched. When you're sitting over there just looking at something, you can have the most enlightened of positions. You know, it's one thing for Jesus to come and tell you, follow me, and you shall get to the kingdom of God. He has no idea what it means to follow him. If you have a wife, if you got kids, if you got a job that supports your wife and kids, he's just a hippie. And then when you say no to him, he says, what benefit is there for man to have a wife and a kid but no soul? He can say those things. He's not married. He doesn't have kids. And because he's not married and has no kids, he doesn't have any guilt about him if he's going to leave someone. He's completely detached, removed from life. He doesn't understand what a common person goes through. Now, let's make it a little bit more complicated. Your child is no longer 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. 19, 20, 5. Now, all of life is about winging it, shooting in the dark, hoping that you'll hit the bullseye. What little I have understood in my very, very short little life that's about to end, everybody eventually is forced to live in the cradle of regret. That's the outcome of reflection. That's the outcome of pain. Her boyfriend is 19. She is 19. She loves him. They spend a lot of time together. But when she gets to be 22, 23, her brain chemistry is going to change. As a woman, she just would want different things. I'm not quite sure if the man she is with right now is going to nourish some of the things that she wants. And eventually, she has to get to this crossroad. Should I stay and live with a man whose intellect is poor, whose emotions are poor? Or should I go, leave, and just figure things out? If she decides to stay, every single day she has to say, what am I doing here? This guy doesn't know how to think, he makes no money, he's got no stability, he smokes too much, drinks too much, uses foul language. I don't know if he's ever going to get there. But I love him. If she leaves, well, I've been with him for 10 years. If she gets to the place where she says, I leave or I stay, both reflection is imposing itself upon her. That's going to create conflict. That conflict is going to create pain. Pain is going to create doubt. Doubt is going to create regret. And then when her daughter, at the age of 15, comes to him and says, I love Joe. Oh no, you don't want to do that. But I love him. No, listen, when I was 15, I loved Joe too. I loved Joe until I was 25, and I realized Joe was a piece of crap. Honey, you'll feel the same way. No Joe. Cup of Joe is okay, but a Joe with no cup is no good. And then you sit back and you say, if that's how life is, nothing but constant struggle. A Taj Mahal somewhere in the sky, and you're never going to attain it. Do I really want to have a child who will constantly go through struggles, only to be disappointed, only to realize that what they have been searching for is nothing but a dream or illusion? And even if they obtain it, it begins to lose its value. Do I want to bring another human being so that they could experience this? And let's just add a footnote to that, which is your temperament is not like my father's, who's positive. You're not optimistic. You're realistic. That's how your temperament is. You don't look at a cup and say it's half full. Why? Because you got 10 people waiting to drink. You're not going to say my cup is half full. You're going to say it's half empty. Why? Because a half-empty cup is not going to quench the thirst of 50 people. And then when you look at this realistically, you say, okay, I got 50 people waiting to drink some water. Who is going to be useful on this journey? What people are useless? Who are the strongest? Who are the fastest? Who are the most weak? The most weak, no water. The useless ones, let them die. And now you place value only because you know your cup is half full or half empty. If you say that my cup is half full, you're going to be like her. Oh, everybody can have a sip. Yeah, but you have a guy who's like 900 pounds, and then you got a guy who's only 2 pounds. They're going to need different quantities of water. And when you give the bottle of water to a guy who's like Mike Tyson, he's going to drink the whole thing. And what? You think a mouse is going to look at him and say, where's my portion? No. But let me kind of just go back to what I said at the very beginning of this class. If you have a talent, if you have a gift, you have two children. A gift that has been given to you either by the gods or biology or psychology. I don't know where gifts come from. How all of a sudden at the age of 5 you can be a great pianist. I don't know how that works. That's one child that you have to take care of. The other gift is you meet someone, you have sex with them because you love them or otherwise, you have a child. Now you have two gifts. You have to wait for a long time to see your own reflection in your child. They need to become very mature. You know, the prodigal son, the cruelty of that story is that the father lives long enough to have a child who goes back to him and says, "Dad, you were right." Parents don't usually experience that. So there's a good chance that all you will have to see is your child making a lot of mistakes and never growing up or maturing to come to you and say, "Okay, I took the wrong path. Give me advice." If you all have a gift of being a great pianist, there is a great chance, Chris, you will not attend to your biological child as much. Because when you play the piano, you see your soul. When you see your child, you see trash. Trash in crying, trash in park, trash in foul language, trash in technology, trash in the friends that they have, trash in the things that they do. Now, if you think you have the time and the stamina and the patience to wait until your kid figures out who and what she is or he is, more power to you. If you're talentless, if you're just winging through life, get married, have a child. It's a great distraction. And they give you meaning and they give you purpose. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Having a wife or a husband and having a child, they will civilize you. They will force you to think. I don't know if that's still true today, because people are just wired differently now. You know, we have become far too selfish and far too narcissistic to care for anything except ourselves and our emotions and our passions. So what usually happens in this culture today, I think, is that you have this fantasy in your head that you'll be a great father or a mother, you'll have great children. Then you realize, no, you know, the reality is very different from the fantasy. And then you get really pissed off. And then you'll begin to bully your wife or your companion, as well as your kids. And then comes a point you just say, "I've had enough," you walk away. So not only do you not become civilized by having a companion children, you become more of a savage because of the pressure that a relationship with your companion as well as a child puts on you. And you know, you have a wife, you have children, you have social issues, poverty, crime, you have money issues, rent, food, school. That's what you have to carry. If you think your back is going to be okay, it's not going to break, fine. We say in Persian that there are two things that you need to think about very deeply and seriously: your career and your relationship. Choose the wrong career and you'll suffer what Marx said. Every day you will walk home with zero soul inside you, and that'll piss you off. You'll feel exploited. You'll feel like a prostitute. You belong to a system that cares so little for you. Choose the wrong companion. After you go home from work with no soul, your wife or your husband will bully you some more. Now you're way in the negative. You never fall in love. Never ever fall in love. Examine yourself, examine your life, examine your companion, examine their history, and then if you find them that they have all the right components not to break down every 10 minutes, marry them. If on the other hand, they throw temper tantrums, they get depressed, they go inward, forget that. It's no good. If you're an artist, don't marry an artist. It won't work. And the Chinese had it right some 3,000 years ago. That there are, people are made temperamentally 5 different components. You have nice nails.
Yeah.
What is it now?
Why should you marry an artist?
Well, if you are an artist, don't marry an artist. If on the other hand, you're not an artist, you should marry an artist. If your husband is an artist, good artist, not like Kanye West, okay, or Snoop Dogg, or Eminem. Is it Eminem? Eminem? Oh, yeah, Eminem.
Snickers.
Is Snickers now?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, these are just... I don't really know if you want to marry an artist. Artists happen to enjoy who and what they are and what they create. And so the only thing you can do is just sit back and witness their creation and worship it. Depending how serious and how good they are. They're not going to have too much time for you. But they will demand that you have a lot of time for them. She knows what I'm talking about. Artists are selfish. They're evil. Socrates is perhaps the best example in the world of philosophy. As a wife, 900 kids. Doesn't provide anything for them. Never works. Never buys milk. Never takes them out to In-N-Out. Never goes on a trip. And he takes every opportunity to escape from this prison called family.
Arguably, the world is.
No. Yes. That's what artists are. They hate their family after a while. They're no good. Is that true?
How about you?
There you go. Well, this has been a fun class. Now, let me just finish this conversation by saying the following. Listen, talk is cheap. And it's so true. Talk is cheap. I think eventually the only way you and I can understand anything as human beings, that's just the way we function. You hear some things, and it sounds okay. Some of it is true, many of it is false. And you walk away saying, man, Amir Sabzvari, I don't think he knows what the hell is talking about. I love my parents. I got kids. I love all of them. Or you'll say, I'm just going to be a different father or a different mother. The way we learn in life, Chris, and the rest of you, you have to be touched. Get married. See how it impacts you. Have children. Now, some of you may not like me as an instructor. It's okay. Get your master's degree. Go teach and see how it is. When people come in late. When people come in with dogs they can't see. When they haven't showered. When they sleep. When they have the look of boredom on their face. Then you realize, man, it's really, really tough. Here you are at home, having prepared a lecture for like 25 hours, right? And you're going to go into the classroom and give this riveting talk. The moment you open your mouth, you realize, man, you're really not very good. as an instructor. Then you realize, well, nobody really gives a shit. You say, well, I didn't think it's going to go this way. And that's the only way you'll understand. One of the nice things about epics, like Epic of Gilgamesh or Epic of Jesus Christ or Epic of Muhammad, is that they have universal truths. You will have regret. You will realize you've made a lot of mistakes. You will realize your opinions were cheap. Nothing. At the end of the day, you realize, as an artist, you've driven everyone away. Now you're old, you're ugly, you're sick, and you're smelly. And there is no one to take care of you. And then you're going to go back in time and you say, I should have been nicer to Joe and Mike and Jack and Bill. And then an ambulance is going to pull up, get her ass, and dump it in Lakeshore. So she can be eaten by the doves and the peacocks. That's how it is. Is that true? It's true.